HD2 and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City. The sun is out. It is a good Friday edition of the Sports Bar. You found us. Thanks for joining us. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. Of course, proudly 585 as it's a fun weekend. Not just because it's Easter weekend, but my gosh, the Amerks home tonight and tomorrow. And tomorrow is one of those games where I think if you didn't go, you might be like, damn, I wish I was there. The Amerks have a lot of things planned for Don Stevens. Some things I can't tell you about. Some things I probably don't know about. But Don Stevens, I can tell you, knows pretty much nothing. Don will be joining. I didn't mean it that way.
Just the way he likes it.
Yeah, Don will be joining us here. He's, I would assume, walking down. It's not that far a walk. For folks who don't know, our studios are located a couple blocks away from now called ESL Ballpark, from the home of the Rochester Red Wings. And I've got Blue Cross Arena is what, a 10-minute walk, if that? Just get out and walk. So that'd be good for Don to come down to the studio. Don Stevens will be joining us in studio coming up at the bottom of this hour as the Amerks tonight. 7 o'clock against Belleville, 5 o'clock tomorrow on Don Stevens Day against Providence, the penultimate home game. I know joining us.
That's a great word.
That is a great word. It is one that you should use every chance you get. The second from last, penultimate. The voice you're hearing, Tim Schneider, joining us, who is all in his, if you're watching on YouTube and Twitch, your Amerk regalia here in honor of Don here.
Yeah, it's a Cole Schneider 10 jersey. It's also my 10th year doing these games, so it works out with Stevens 40, Schneider 10. Here we are.
That's it. We will also be talking to Elena Getzenberg, ESPN reporter, covering the Buffalo Bills as we'll kind of reset here. Where are the Bills right now in this first weekend in April, where you do have the draft coming up. You have the first wave of free agency officially kind of closed. Coming off the NFL owners meetings, Josh Allen's a dad. Now, as far as I know, I haven't seen the name for baby girl Allen, but maybe Elena might know. We will talk to Elena Getzenberg coming up in hour number 2. 585-866-4326. That's a Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub wingman line. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. The table is set for you. You can also leave us a comment if you so desire for our viewers watching on YouTube and Twitch. You can also hit us up on X, our handle, WGR Rochester. So the party's going to have to wait another day for the Buffalo Sabres, as the Sabres last night losing in Ottawa. But I think one thing that's kind of coming into focus is that we're really not that far off from playoff hockey. I'm not talking about the calendar. I'm talking about these teams that Buffalo is playing right now. Detroit this week. You had the Islanders, and you had Ottawa. They're in all this, talk about underrated words, schmozzle. I love schmozzle. It's just a big old schmozzle of teams that are trying to get, 2 spots here, and there are 5 teams jockeying for it. So the playoffs kind of started early for Ottawa and for tomorrow night's opponent, Washington. And did you see this? Brady Tkachuk got fined $2,500. Like, what are you doing? Like, that was stupid. Like, slashing Melenstein on the bench. But the Sabres, their road winning streak comes to an end. That was 14 straight games with at least 1 point on the road. Very, very impressive. And as my son Kyle pointed out, like, you're making too much of a big deal out of the home ice. Oh, okay. Like, I like, when people tell me that, but when it comes from your own son, it's like, well, that's a little different there, because he's like, yeah, I'm like, no, the Sabres need to get, the division here in case they get the home ice against Tampa. It's like, that doesn't matter. You look at what they're doing on their own. I'm like, all right, that's fair enough. Hockey is kind of the one sport where you like to have it. I would like to have it for the fans. How about that? Let's start there. More home games in West New York, the better for the economy. Rah, rah, rah.
Isn't it awesome how different our progression has changed from 14 years of please just make the playoffs one time to now, if we don't win the Eastern Conference, like if we don't win the top seed, it's a disappointing conclusion to the season.
Well, we skipped this whole step in the process. A couple of them, actually, Tim. We should be going back to the schmozzle conversation. Okay, we would be like, oh my gosh, they're going to make it, and we'd be hanging on every game. We weren't kind of hanging on last night. I wasn't upset that the Sabres lost. I know that kind of sounds strange, but I'm like, they're in. 99.99 or whatever
right.
it is, they're in. It's just what draw me point to other instances in sports where you have teams go from 0 to 60. One of our guests yesterday, Matthew Fairburn, pointed out the Patriots of last year. Okay, that's kind of fair where the Patriots popped out of nowhere, but come on. I don't mean to offend you, Patriot fan. That felt a little flukish. It felt like everything fell in your direction. Could you say the Sabres are flukish? I don't think so. I think the Sabre team is talented where if it falls short, it will. All right, I don't see this team hoisting the cup. I'm sorry. I'd love to be wrong on that. But everybody's going to be totally into it, and this team should be, and they'll fine-tune some things, and we'll get to off-season conversations about Tuck and Melenstein. What do you do, with some of these prospects? I do think, though, it's tough to point to something in sports where something goes from 0 to 60. I mean, in baseball, you had two last-place teams in the early 90s, 1991, all of a sudden make the World Series, and the Braves and the Twins. And the Twins, you could say that was kind of a leftover thing from 87. Okay, fair. But that kind of launched the Braves.
Right.
I don't want to call it a dynasty if you only get one, but they were
15 years in a row, though.
That was really, really good baseball where they were crap. They were the team nobody went to, and they wore totally different uniforms, and their games were free on TBS. And then all of a sudden they became this team that's like, whoa, they have talent. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And in this whole, it was like a totally different franchise. And that's how the Sabres feel to me. And if anybody else has an analogy, that's where, I always welcome your feedback at 866-4326, area code 585. And our handle, of course, at WGR Rochester. We mentioned how it's a great sports weekend for Rochester. The Wings today should feel like opening day, right? It's a Good Friday. It's a doubleheader. And I would anticipate a lot of people are going to make it a point to kind of go over to the ballpark. That first game is going to be, maybe it's already started or it's going to be getting underway. Scranton is the opponent. Now, Tim, you came in with this big box.
Yeah.
Now, but Pizza Dude was holding the door for you. And quite often, Pizza Dude has this habit. And Dan DeLorean can kind of attest to this. Like, we get a lot of deliveries here for equipment or whatever, prizes or whatever. And because we get these deliveries, like, we're kind of the first ones in line, right? We don't have a receptionist at the front door. And Derek's, we always end up doing his manual labor. That's the thing. More than once we've done manual labor for Derek, and not get paid for it. So I'm thinking, okay, this is another piece of equipment. It's not. It's actually something you brought in. What is this?
Yeah, this is, I don't know the count on them, but it is a couple thousand Yanquiel Fernandez cards. He is a former Rockies player who joined the Yankees this offseason. He's in AAA. I'm I guess, freelance Topps/Fanatics autograph authenticator. So I got to sit down with certain players, this in particular case, Fernandez, hang out with him for a few hours while he writes his name on the cards, and then I ship them back out to Texas, and it's a fun little gig. I've done it with Ernie Clement, Roman Anthony, Mark Vientos, among others.
And now Yanquiel Fernandez, and he's got to sit. How long do these that's a huge box. How long do these signings take?
Usually I take a look on eBay and see what the signatures look like and kind of dictate from there. This happened literally during the show yesterday, so I haven't even looked. They just gave me the name. I said, sure, send them, and we'll figure it out. But it ranges anywhere from 2 to 5 hours, 1 depending on how many cards it is, 2 depending on how intricate and effort they put into the signature. I did one with Alex Call, who was with the Wings a couple years ago. He's with the Dodgers now. He put a Bible verse on the card, so that extended the signing by I don't know how long, but it went forever.
So you're free to do some of those things.
Yeah.
And I guess that would make it okay. You're actually signing that, and And it's a good side hustle for these guys. It's free money basically with
Oh,
the
yeah.
signatures like that, kind of doing that. And well, that's a really fun gig you've got there, Tim. I mean, like a lot of people will be kind of envious of that, but now you got to wait for.
I'm at the mercy of the player now. It's they're only here until Sunday, so they have to contact me, and I have to be available. And obviously, I'm not available between 1 and 3 and during the Amherst game. So it's a tight window here, but we'll figure it out.
All right, maybe you're doing this after the Amherst game tonight. Or
late night, but we'll see if that's what has to happen. That's what has to happen. I've done that before. Actually, they would leave Innovative Field, walk over here, and we would do it in where Dandelion is now, and hang out until 1 or 2 in the morning, depending on how long it took. So there's precedent in this situation, but we'll see how it plays out. Each one's unique.
Yeah, that's interesting to kind of learn that we have midnight visitors here at the High Falls Studios. Well, that's very cool. They are underway. No score. Scranton and the Wings will keep you updated on that. Our phone number is 866-4326 here at the Sports Bar. Don Stevens will be stopping by here momentarily. Couple games for the Amherst this weekend. No Phil Mickelson at the Masters, citing a family health matter. Lefty is 55. But that doesn't mean like this. It's the one sport where maybe you do catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, what's the difference between 55 and 52? Some people might say that's a lot. I say, well, like once you get to a certain age. Well, the point is, Phil just 3 years ago at 52 finished tied for second. So I think it's actually kind of a bummer that Phil Mickelson won't be at the Masters. And I'm kind of over okay, he's on LIV or PGA, and I think LIV people made their choice and they wear their stupid gear, whatever it is. I'm not, I'm totally not into that, but that doesn't mean I'm rooting against somebody like Phil Mickelson. Yeah, there's only a handful of golfers that I'll root against there, Tim. Colin Montgomery back in the day, Patrick Reed being the one now. Patrick Reed just because he's just an ass.
Is Tiger one of them now?
No, Tiger, I don't think he should be golfing, period, right now. And, like more, we talked about yesterday in the show, the Tiger footage that kind of came out. No, yeah, he won't be there, and that's just kind of fun.
Did you see, there's extended footage. Did you see the one where he used the president as, it's not great out there.
No, and I don't know what he was under the influence of because obviously he got arrested for that. So, he's got to go get taken care of what he's getting taken care of. And what I am just going to stand by is one, because probably he will be on the golf course at some point. Assuming he goes back, I'm not going to be giving you Tiger updates or Tiger tracker here on the show. Like, to me, it's kind of sad. He's our generation's Mickey Mantle. You kind of wasted some years there, buddy. Carter Jensen. Now, maybe you haven't heard of Carter. He's not somebody that's ever come through. He didn't do an autograph signing for you.
I do know somebody who knows him through the coaching ranks, but no, I don't know him personally.
Okay, so Carter Jensen, there's an analogy here. Promising rookie for the Royals. Now, the Royals, you see, like, if you're watching the World Baseball Classic, you're like, wait a second. Like, Kansas City should be okay. Like, they should be a team that's gonna, be farting around and maybe they get one of the wild cards. I don't know if they take the division. I still think Detroit is tops there. I do think Cleveland is a little pesky, but Kansas City is, it's a team that I would keep an eye on. And they've got a lot of young talent. And Carter Jensen is a promising rookie catcher. Not that the Royals need a catcher necessarily, but that's always good to have somebody like this that comes up. He was scratched from the lineup yesterday, and look, no big deal. It happens all the time, right? You make a decision, you change minds, maybe somebody's not feeling well. It wasn't until after the game that his teammates, Vinny Pasquantino was the one I saw specifically, called him out for oversleeping. And then Carter Jensen, of course, then all the reporters go over to Jensen, and he's got to explain that he didn't hear his alarm, and he did what he was supposed to do. Accountable, won't happen again. You do this because he's a rookie. You do this because it's the first time, and it's a little embarrassing, I suppose. But this is the bar that the Royals are setting, and this is the standard that they're setting at the beginning of the year. Now, I would just kind of question. I really don't know. Say it's a 1:35 first pitch. What time do you have to be at the ballpark? You have to be ballpark at like 10?
based on the stuff that I've done.
Yeah, so 10, and then I would think you would. I would hope you have a buddy system. These players, by the way, they don't work 9 to 5 jobs. So if you're thinking, wow, how could you still be sleeping at 10 o'clock? Shame on you. That's one of those things that, Tim, honestly, like, you have to kind of take into consideration.
Right.
Sometimes these guys, if they're playing a night game, maybe they don't get home and then they just want to get something to eat and you're getting past midnight. So it's a different
Falling
clock.
asleep at 3 a.m. is not the same as going to bed at 10 p.m.
No.
They leave the stadium at 10 p.m. So
I think I hear his voice. Let's put a pin on that. Coming into the studio, the great Don Stevens. You know, Don, I normally, like, radio-wise, we would take a break and try to set things up, but, you know, your time is valuable. We don't want to wait. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Stevens coming on into studio. Not the first time, but we got to cherish these times, Don. I mean, too many more of these times. Who knows? This might be the last time we have you in studio. Don, how are you today?
Is that a threat?
I don't know. I just can't assume you'll say yes every time we ask you to come in studio.
I got to get my fat you-know-what up on this chair here. I had to walk almost 20 feet from the car to here. Give me time to catch my breath, will you?
There we go. Fix the camera.
No, that was good.
Oh, no, yeah.
That worked well.
We have a third one.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Press the button.
you don't have a contract that allows you to work with that kind of equipment, right?
No.
Yeah, and it shows that you just touched it and dumped it. So
we go to the 3 screen for all our viewers on YouTube. Don, we're in the Amert gear. Don, we talked to you the day after. What was this whole week like for you after calling that period up in Buffalo?
After the call, after the game, it's just been nonstop. I mean, the social media was just flooded. I can't believe, it's just unbelievable what the reception has been. One of our social media people in the office was showing, I think it was on Instagram or something, but the next morning at 10 o'clock, one stream only, and there's got to be like hundreds of streams, but one stream only had 200,000 views.
Oh.
It's just unbelievable. But there's so much that's involved with it. That to me is just mind-boggling. Everything I've seen has been positive. I mean, ordinarily on social media, you're going to get a certain percentage of negative. I haven't seen any negative.
That's a good lesson for everybody because there's negative. How do you deal with that when you get negative stuff out there, Don?
Well, you try and just sort of shed it aside, but it still plays on you.
Sure, for sure. Don, and now you get a weekend here. It's Don Stevens Day, but then tonight you've got a game where people, I'm sure, are going to be stopping you. Let's talk. You have family coming into town. What's tomorrow going to be like?
So, my son and his family, his wife and 2 daughters, they arrived last night. Evidently, I just sent my daughter a note a little bit ago to ask if they made it all right. I haven't heard back yet, but they're supposed to be here today. Well, I'm in the office, game tonight. And then tomorrow morning, they're going to my granddaughter's game. She plays lacrosse at Canisius.
Oh.
So they're going up there in the morning and then coming back in the afternoon. So the first I'll see them is tomorrow afternoon. And I haven't seen them like 5 years. And
wow.
So I'll see them, and then for the game that night. But then Sunday morning, we're on the bus to Cleveland. So I'm not going to get to spend, and they're gone. So,
wow.
it's unfortunate. But at least you get to see them for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's like you almost forget that you got a game Monday night in Cleveland. This stretch, 4 games in 6 days here. Don, have they told you anything about what will be happening here this week?
Yeah, they've told me it's a secret. Yeah.
All right. I can't tell you anything other than Tim and I we heard one thing. And I am the person that has such a tough time keeping my mouth shut.
So Timmy, is he begging for a payment here?
I think he might be, because I'm a steel trap and I'm not telling anybody anything. So he can push it if he wants. I'm going to hold on to this until Monday is over.
Well, the only thing that I've heard is that somebody's going to introduce me, and then I'm going to speak, and then who knows what's happening. After that, it's all secret. So I don't know.
So have you thought about what you'll say to the Rochester fans when you're going to be speaking?
Have I thought about it? Not much longer than about the last 2 years. I mean, in my mind, I've been mulling this over. And how do you wrap up 58 years of broadcasting, or 40 years in Rochester? How do you wrap it up in one speech? And that's been what I've been trying to figure out. And unfortunately, of course, when I'm talking, that's holding up the start of the game. The players have already got through warm-ups, and by the time I get done, they're going to need another warm-up session to get loose. But so you got to try and keep them in mind, too, that there's a game, and a very important game to play, too. So I tried to – I put it on paper a few days ago. I finally got sat down and put it on paper, and then I've spent the last few days whittling. And that's the sad part. I mean, there is thousands of names that I should put out there, but I can't say them all. There just isn't enough time. And so getting hopefully the ones that are significant, well, they're all significant. I can't say that. There's no way I can describe how difficult it is to not mention everybody I need to mention.
Yeah, it's, have you ever counted up how many different color commentators you've had over the years?
No, is that including or not including you?
I
You count.
One.
You count.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't counted.
Yeah, that was a thrill, by the way. Brian Duff, that was that Buffalo snowstorm, Timmy, where the Bills couldn't get back in time from Christmas Eve, and a throughway shut down, and they didn't. And Warren's like, "Hey, do you want to do the game?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And then when you get to sit next to Don, it's a little overwhelming.
Oh, whoopee dee.
Well, you can hang out here for a bit.
Yep.
We gotta take a break. We will talk. Anybody wants to say thanks to Don, by the way, you can hit us up on X. WGR Rochester is our handle. You can also call us. Area code 585-866-4326. 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here. Don Stevens in studio, along with producer Tim Schneider, here on WGR Rochester.
Rochester Sports Update.
It's hockey night tonight in the Flower City. The Amherst looking to get back on the winning track as they host Belleville. Don Stevens will have the call at 7. Don joining us in studio here this afternoon. Mike Leone, head coach, on the opponent tonight.
It's not a game 7. It's not a do or die situation. It's another game on the schedule. Like, you just got to play like it's the next game. It's not a do or die game. Yes, it's an important game, but if I go in the room and build it up like it's a Calder Cup final game, they're going to grip their sticks and they're going to be nervous. Like, with the group that we have, it's just the next game on the schedule. Like, that's the approach you got to take.
Sabres tomorrow night playing in Washington. That game we'll have for you on 96.5 WCMF. Baseball, it's the doubleheader for the Rochester Red Wings on this Good Friday. They go to the top of the second. Scranton up 1-0 in Game 1. Yankee home opener coming up at 1:35 against the Marlins. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, WGR Rochester.
Raising the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Of course, the Amherst tonight, but then tomorrow, that is one of those that I can't say enough. That is like one game if you want to say thank you to Don Stevens. And it's the early start, which we kind of love. Providence, 5:05 tomorrow. Don joining us in studio. 1987, your first year in Rochester. Don, bring me back to what it was like here, capping out 40 years here. But what was year number 1 like for you with the Amherst?
Magical. I keep using that word, and I think that's exactly what it was, 86-87 season. We went through the season doing pretty well. It came down to the last night of the season. We were in Binghamton, final game, and it was for the regular season championship, and we ended up winning it in a shootout in Binghamton, and then ended up going all the way to Game 7 against Sherbrooke in the finals, and won it in Sherbrooke. And each time we'd come back, like when we came back at the end of the regular season, the bus pulls off the highway. We're going to head down across the bridge to the arena. We couldn't get across the bridge. It was just totally jammed all the way across the bridge with people. And then when we landed at the airport after the game in Sherbrooke, the championship game there, came out, it's like 3:30 in the morning, and it's cold. And there had to be, I don't know, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people at the airport there, too. So, and then the parade was jam-packed. And our championship party at the Blue Cross Arena, which happened to be on my birthday, I tell everybody it's my biggest birthday party, there was over 10,000 people. The fire marshal shut it down, didn't let us let any more people in the building that night, and it just again, it was best word I can think of to describe that year and what happened was just magical.
That is just a great memory for anybody who grew up in that time. And then, of course, you would have another championship in '96, and that was one where I remember Portland gave the Amherst everything they could in that final. Your memories from that 96-97 season, Don?
Well, the most memorable thing on that one is the check by Dean Melanson on I think it was the Russian Zednik.
Yeah, Richard Zednik.
Richard Zednik, yeah. And that hit, I can picture it on the other side of the rink at the blue line, and just a powerful hit, like a freight train running over a guy, and that really set the tone. And that was really the first time that I thought, okay, we got a chance to win this thing. And that check, I think, was really what set the tone, and they went on for the rest of the game and won it.
Those years of Amherst hockey, the Buffalo organization, has really set the bar, because we're talking about the championships. There were many other years, Don, where you had a couple losses in the final to Springfield. You had the one loss in the final to Hartford, but the Amherst are right there, and that's all you can kind of ask. Like, can we get to the final? But then what is it like then when things kind of start to fall apart, and then all of a sudden you're not affiliated with the Buffalo Sabres? What were those years here like, Don?
Those are forgettable. I don't remember them.
That's okay.
But you're talking about making it to the finals. There was one stretch where we were one win away from doing the finals 4 straight years. They had this stupid little playoff round to get into the finals on the 1 year, and we lost it 3-2. But there was 2 years in a row that were against Springfield, so there was a lot of years in there where we were just going to my first 16 years. No, what was it? Yeah, my first my first 14 years, we went to the finals 8 times. How many of those teams never made the finals through that whole stretch, or still haven't ever made the finals? So that was big. But the downtime was devastating. It was terrible. We had such a bad reputation in town, and there was a stretch there where I didn't even acknowledge to people where I worked or what I did. It was so bad. When everything went downhill, the organization had just overdone. With the stadium just up the street here or across the way, there was the 4-rink ice complex. We had the hockey team. We had indoor soccer. We had outdoor soccer. We had women's soccer. We had indoor lacrosse, outdoor lacrosse. We didn't have indoor soccer. But, I mean, all of those different things going at the same time, it was just too much and couldn't handle it, and the whole organization just kind of went down the tubes.
Well, yeah, it just kind of got a little big, but then the Pagulas come in and things come back around. Don Stevens joining us here in studio, Amherst tonight against Belleville. Don, going back to some of the things we've kind of experienced, did you ever think somebody would find the audio of you calling the NHL game from – Tim, do you know what year that was?
It was 1991, I believe.
1991. Tony Tanti with the goal. Like a younger Don Stevens. You know that's you, though, in the call.
Well, yeah, it is. And my color man was Mike Robitaille, and the third one on the telecast that night was Jim Lorenz. So I did see that. Seymour Knox was the one to send me that cut a few weeks ago. And no, I had no idea it even existed.
Okay, so I think Tim has it here for us.
Yeah, it's actually January of 1992.
Okay.
12 shots on goal for Buffalo, and a lot of them good shots. Not too cheap.
It's Andrechuk in for the draw. Back to Bodger. Still on the power play to LaFontaine. Spins it away to Andrechuk. Quick shot, deflection, they score! Deflected away in the net by Tanti, and the Sabres have drawn first blood.
I know from the goal call that's you, Don. That's fantastic.
Well, you know what? That's a strange voice. I don't think I could replicate that voice. It's different. I think. Isn't it different now?
It's, well, I guess we all kind of age, right?
Well,
what would you say?
Yeah, no, I didn't age. No,
no, not at all.
It took me a second when I heard it the first time. I was like, "Is that really him?" And
then when
clearly
you get to,
it is.
When you get to the goal call, yeah. And then when I'm like, "Oh, that's Robitaille," and I couldn't place Lorenz, but that's the other broadcaster on that. That was. Boy, that was fantastic. Just to kind of well, thank you to Mr. Knox for finding that. That's what kind of vault is that? They can pull out any game, and here's the audio from that.
I don't have. Everybody says, "Well, you got tapes of this and that." No, I don't. First of all, I cannot stand to listen to myself, and so I've never collected tapes. I've never really ever listened back to games. It's like chalk on a blackboard to me. So I don't have any tapes. Anybody's asking me if I have any tapes to collect. I don't have them. So.
Well, I'm sure we've got. From these years we've been doing them here on the. Well, now we're WGR.
Timmy's got everything though. You ever notice that he finds anything and everything you need?
I think they took a lot of it away from me, but I have it all when we need it.
Yeah, that's all you need here. Don Stevens joining us here in studio. Don, just a few questions on the team here because it's a team that, all right now. It seems like they're kind of destined for. You mentioned playing round. I guess 4 or 5 is sort of a playing round, but this Amherst team isn't going away here. So it's you would hope for more reinforcements. I don't know if they're going to be coming. Your thoughts on where the Amhersts are here as we're entering the final stretch?
All of a sudden, a pretty precarious position.
Yeah.
With injuries and call-ups like Metza, getting called up again, and the injuries now. We've lost Fiddler Schultz, we've lost Rathbone, we've lost Johnson. Pretty much for the season, maybe an outside chance if we went on for a few games in the playoffs that they might come back. But a lot of our key players, of course, Roseanne was traded away, and beginning of the year we lost Ostlund. To me, one of the most devastating losses was the call-up of Josh Dunn at the start of the year. He was really, I think, going to be our leader, the foundation, I think, of this team, and so I think that really hurt us. And it's just we started out good, started out playing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about this team is they don't quit. They work hard. Every night, even though being outmanned, and the talent level of some of these teams that are coming to town is just incredible. Rochester has, I think, team talent. They don't necessarily have all of the individual skills. There's a few, obviously, that do, like Helenius and some that are just unbelievably skilled. But we've got a certain kind of player, very hard-nosed, forechecking player, and maybe some perimeter threats, but getting the really talented, skillful player in front of the net that's a finisher. We've got basically one.
Don, you have seen quite a few goaltenders come through here. Like, you go back to Jacques Cloutier, Ryan Miller, however. Devin Levi, he's gotten, the workload. The last check, he was right at the top there of the American Hockey League.
Yeah, he leads in minutes played and saves.
So the chances are that he can, what's the phrase now? He can goalie another team here, because to me, if there's any hope that the Amerks can kind of navigate and make this a magical spring here in Rochester, it actually rests on the shoulders of Devin Levi.
Yeah, and you can count on a goalie to win you a few games, but you can't count on him to win you all the games.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly Levi's doing his best, and it seems like when the team does really well and he does really well on a night, and we keep the opposition off the board, basically, we don't score.
Yeah,
and so it's just. It's tough. You can't put it on one person, especially you can't put it on Devin Levi, because he's doing everything he can to keep the Amerks in the games, and he does.
He's got more saves than all but one goalie has seen shots. So that's the workload he's gotten this year.
That's quite a workload. Don, in all your years, I don't think the Amerks have ever had a schedule like we've got coming up here. Maybe that's where we really
great planning.
I can't. We all want to pencil the Amerks into the postseason, but your thoughts on 6 of the last 7 on the road? Well, was the arena booked? What's going? Why would they deal a team a schedule like that?
I don't know, and nobody's admitting to having done the schedule, so I don't know where it came from, and maybe I should be careful what I say, because who knows? Maybe it was somebody in the upper echelon that that did the scheduling. But here we are. A good way of resting and getting your players healthy is to play 6 games in 9 days or something, and especially the last weekend, 3 games in 3 days, finishing up in Hershey and having to play. If we get into the playoffs, most likely going to have to play the first game on Wednesday, maybe even Tuesday, and so you got a day between, which you're probably going to just go right from Hershey to wherever it is, be it Cleveland or Toronto.
I would imagine there are going to be things that you're going to miss. You'll miss people. You'll miss the game. You're not going to miss a bus ride, I'm guessing.
Not one lick. Not one lick. No, I'm going to burn my bus pillow in effigy. And really, when you come right down to it, that's probably the biggest reason that I'm calling it a day. Is the travel is just too much.
Well, how are you physically? Everything for your next phase in life after retirement?
Me, other than being too short and too wide?
There's Don. You have my gosh, I can't even imagine what that would be like. But you can do whatever you want to next year. You don't have a schedule to be.
Well, health-wise, I've gone through a few things the last few years. I had some heart surgery. I had a cancer that I battled, and so far so good. I'm making my way through it, and through a lot of it, especially even going back to COVID, where it was just kind of I lost the habits, if you will, of working out and staying in shape. So that's my first order of business when this season's all over, is to try and work my way back into some sort of physical condition.
Yeah, and then have you given any thought? Are you going to do anything part-time or anything like that with hockey?
I don't know at this point. I know I have to do something. I can't just go vegetate. That's not going to be good for me. I've known so many people over the years that have busted their buns for years, and so that they could retire early. They get done and they don't do anything. They're just as they say, vegetating, and they're gone in 6 months. All of a sudden, not doing anything. It just you disappear. So no, I can't do that. I've got to do something. So we haven't had that discussion yet, and I've delayed trying to have that discussion until this is over. I've said all the way along this year, I just want to enjoy the year, try and shorten it up, which try and make it last longer. That didn't work, obviously. It just blew by.
Yeah.
And then at the end, then I'll sit down and try and figure out what it is I'm going to do.
Did you ever give any thought as to why it seems like as we get older, time kind of shrinks? Like seasons kind of go by quicker.
Well, the old saying has always been, the older you get, the faster it goes, and there's probably nothing ever that is more true than that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did say to somebody, they asked what I was going to do, and I said, well, with what's going on and the mass of contacts trying to come up with, bobbleheads tomorrow night. There's not enough of them, obviously, but if maybe next season I'll come back and in the atrium pregame I'll be a live bobblehead.
Well, Don, I mean, I'm just thanking you because you are kind of like our friend during the winter and spring. That's how I kind of look at for people that have never met you, but we think we know you. You've just been kind of our companion. Like, okay, what's going on in the game? Let me listen in for a little bit. I get this opportunity to, on behalf of Amherst fans and Rochesterians, just to say thank you. I mean,
thank you.
And honestly, Saturday, I am shilling for the team here because you are a friend, and you've been a friend to Tim, and you've been a friend to the station, so many people. 505 against Providence, and
it's a good thing we're playing against the number one team overall in the league.
It'll be a really fun time, yeah. Maybe instead of hat tricks, bobble tricks, just somebody gets three. And
Don, I don't want to
they're the only team with over 100 points in the season right now.
Thankfully, the Islanders didn't hang 5 goals on the Sabres when you called that period because people be like, okay, let's say he's the jinx. Let's get him out of here.
Well, well, no, they did win that game, so no, I'm not the jinx.
No, not at all.
The one game I did in St. Louis back in, what'd you say was 92?
1992, yeah.
Yeah, that we lost that game, and I said, well, I guess that's why I was never brought back.
Well, Don, appreciate your time here today. I know you got a game to prepare for here tonight. And Don and Andrew, 7 o'clock tonight here on The Fan, our WGR Rochester. See, Tim, I still call it the old.
Yeah, I thought you were so done with it that I don't even have the penalty thing for you. But
there's a penalty.
Is that like kind of like calling the Sabres the Amerks like 10 times?
Yeah,
in 5 minutes.
Every time he does it, he owes me like $20 human.
Yeah, but I appreciate the words, and you've always given me personally and our organization unfiltered support, and we thank you so much for it. You also, Tim, you've worked so hard to make sure these broadcasts come across, and it is very much appreciated.
We've got 9 left in the regular season. We hope to make it 25 more in told and start it how you finished it, or finish it how you start it with a Calder Cup.
Yeah, whatever. We know what you mean.
Yeah, 25 more. Like, I'm doing the math. Okay, whatever. I'll trust you on that. Yeah, like we're gonna make Don work till the end of June. How's that?
Yeah. Well, you know what? In fact, I think the last championship game we won, it was June 16th was the day we won it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a little. It's the games are important when you're walking in, and it's a beautiful day out, and I like what the Amerks have done, on Broad Street here in recent years. So hopefully we get that going again. Don, thank you.
Thank you, pal.
Thank you, Don Stevens.
Thanks a lot.
On the call tonight and tomorrow, Don Stevens Day against Providence. We will have Tim's terrible take of the day. That is coming your way next. Elaine Getzenberg with some Bills Talk, ESPN. That is coming up next hour. 585-866-4326 is our phone number here on WGR Rochester.
Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
If you missed the Don Stevens interview, Dan DeLorean will get that up for you on demand. You can also download the Odyssey app. If you haven't done so already, you can go back and listen to anytime, 72 hours. Tim, that's the app that will get either you and or I fired at some point.
Shocked it hasn't yet.
Like, yeah, that's like, here it is, everybody. Here's what they said. Don was fantastic. And I would just, tomorrow night is Don Stevens night. And if you like Don Stevens, if you like Amerks history, if you love the Amerks, I would encourage you to listen tonight. Amerks against Belleville, 7 o'clock tonight. Don on the call. 20 days from today, it's the draft in Pittsburgh. And as they prepare to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of the football season, the city's kickoff celebration will begin with an unforgettable invite-only night of music. The night before takes place on Wednesday, April 22nd at the Rivers Casino Event Center, featuring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Profit. Visit Odyssey.com/thenightbefore to enter now for your chance to win this national contest. Your prize includes round-trip airfare, 2-night hotel stay, 2 tickets to the show. Odyssey.com/thenightbefore. Good luck from WGR Rochester.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
I don't know when this is going to get old enough for me to explode.
it's
I'm
not
over here Arthur fisting, and you're doing your song and dance.
I would say I would put our show up against any of the other of the WGR shows, and we have more fun here. What do you think?
We do have more fun here, and fun is very important. That last segment was really fun too. The two of you guys, this is not my terrible take, just a sentence. The two of you guys have made my life in radio very fun, and I appreciate both of you for it. You got me into it. He kept me in it. That was a really fun.
Don't blame me.
Thing for me. Well, you're right. You're right. Actually, yeah. I'm grateful to have that experience. That was fun for me. That last half hour. Now to my terrible take. You mentioned the other day Colt Emerson signing a deal, Connor Pratt signing a deal. Nobody really knows who those guys are yet because they haven't debuted. Top prospect Connor Griffin doing the same thing. This one, a record-breaking. Last year, it was 8 years, $130 million for Roman Anthony. This time around, it's 9 years, $140 million for Connor Griffin before he debuts. That's a record. I think that deals like that, despite them having proven absolutely nothing, need to become more commonplace in baseball, especially with what might become a salary cap. You give these guys, you buy into them when you draft them. They prove it through the ranks. You pay them before they debut because they're going to end up being worth more than that contract down the line if they hit.
But that's not always true.
No, it's
and
not.
There's always like I should know this as I'm trying. And part of the beauty of this is I am being honest when I tell you, gentle listener, I never know what Timmy's going to bring up. That's why he's hitting me on this. So that's why I'm drawing a blank. But who was the Tampa Bay Ray?
Evan Longoria.
No. He did some awful
Wander
things.
Franco.
Thank you. Wander Franco, they gave a lot of money to up front, and it turns out not a great guy. Can we leave it at that? And I don't know if the Rays can wiggle out of that, but the money they wasted in that year or two with Wander Franco, not worth the return on investment. And if they got nailed for the rest of it, well, then shame on them. So it's a buyer beware. Bottom line here, Tim, is baseball. For people that don't believe this, I would respectfully say you're wrong. Baseball's doing very, very well. Is it the NFL? No. Should we compare it to the NFL? No. Okay, those days are over. If you were somebody from the 70s and 80s and that grew up with baseball was right alongside, those days, we're decades upon decades past that. But what baseball has done is they've gone beyond the borders here, and there are countries like Japan and places like the Dominican Republic where it's king. It is the number one sport. And as long as you keep kind of cultivating that, the dollars will come in. And the dollars coming in, for the Seattle shortstop I had never heard of. Now, Connor Griffin I heard of. And when the Pirates held him down, I'm like, really? They're gonna monkey around with his service time here? Like, you got to be kidding me. The kid he had a great spring, and they're going to keep him down. And, well, they realized that was a dumb idea.
I think my theory there is they wanted him to debut at home, giving him a little bit of a leash there. But for it to be within a week, it's a home opener. Maybe they want to set the tone that way rather than.
I think baseball. Okay, home opener. You're opening in New York. Like, if you want, like, you have Paul Skeens on the mound, and if you had Connor Griffin, it's like, hey, you want to raise a flag? Not to be punny there, because that's what they do for the Pirates.
Jolly Roger.
Yeah, but you want to raise the Jolly Roger to your fan, like, hey, we are the young and fun team. Here's Skeens, and look, it's such a long season. Not that the Pirates would have won a game with Connor Griffin in the lineup. They took one of the three for the Mets. Of course, it was the game I was at, Tim.
Proud of you.
I had great seats, but little did I learn that, like, not everything, some things are kind of obstructed. And the sight line, I couldn't see the right field corner. And I'm thinking, this ball is going to be gone. The Mets just walked it off. And then the crowd goes silent. I'm like, okay, it was a foul ball. And I see the Pirates coming out of the dugout. I'm like, why are they coming out of the dugout for a foul ball? Oh, hey, you stupido. They just lost the game, obviously. You couldn't see him catch the ball. Still don't know if that was called fair or foul. It doesn't even matter. But, yeah, Tim, it's and your Guardians opening up this afternoon, too. So
Thinking about going down Sunday. What do you think? Should I make that trip? Got to be back for the game Monday and be here for the game Saturday. So it'll be a quick day trip, but it's possible. It's Easter, though.
You could. Who plays in Cleveland Monday? Yeah, there, Tim.
Well, it doesn't matter because I got to be here for the Monsters game.
So you would have to find a fill-in for you on the show.
No, I'll be here. I will come back for it.
Okay.
Sunday I'm free. Easter Sunday, though.
Well, I was saying, like, why not go down Sunday and then make it a whole weekend, but then you've got to work here Monday.
Right.
You got 2 shifts on Monday. I got you. No, if you're going to ask me, will I fill in for you Monday night, being Don's producer? The answer is no.
That's fine. No, I'll be here. I'll be here for that.
I wouldn't have a clue how to work any of that stuff. I'm like honestly, if you didn't show up, it'd be like, okay, well, I don't know. What is this? I'd have like 10 things running at once here.
It would be comical, but also very bad. I would get in trouble for you screwing things up.
You always are the fall guy.
That's fine.
That's fine. We got Elena Gatzenberg. We will get caught up on the Bills. I feel like we're overdue for some Bills talk because I
like that. Overdue Bills.
Overdue Bills. Didn't mean to do that. Elena will join us next hour. You're always welcome to join us and see, I took off the sticker by Don's request. It was a sticker from the old thing that kind of had the old saying in the old station, like, why is that still up? That should be down. Absolutely right. 866-4326, area code 585 is our number. My name is Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Hockey night tonight in the Flower City. The Amerks hosting Belleville. Don Stevens on the call beginning at 7. Head coach Mike Leone on the state of the Amerks.
I'm really proud of where the group is right now, big time. Like, we just played 3 teams that have 40 wins, and we outplayed them 5-on-5. Did we win every game? No. But when I look at our 5-on-5 game, what we did the last 3 games at this time of the year with the teams that we played against is remarkable for the group.
Sabres tomorrow night, another chance to clinch the playoffs officially. They play in Washington. We'll have that game on 96.5 WCMF. Wings doubleheader today at home. Scranton is up 3-0. They are in the third. Aaron Judge with a first-inning homer down in the Bronx. The Yankees now up on the Marlins 2-1. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Stay for a while, you're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gina Tim F takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar for Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2 of the Sports Bar. Thanks for joining us here on a Good Friday. Gene Battaglia with you. 585 proud here in my hometown. Terrible Take Timmy, the pride of Fairport, also joining us as we invite you to join us. Area code 585-866-4326 is our phone number. The Sabres don't get it done last night, and Dan DeLorean warned us. He's like, hey, how do we need this game? How do we need it? Look, yeah, they came away. Of course, it's Cousins with it. Hey, Zach Metza gave up an even strength goal.
Oh, no.
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, that was like, and we were joined yesterday by Paul Hamilton, and Paul, like, pointing out, like, it had been since October, a 5-on-5 goal, and we were kind of treated with the Sabres sending down Zach Metza. I think Paul kind of made it clear. I mean, yeah, he's not going to be coming back here.
So Timmins is Lindy Ruff's guy, and it seems like the Timmins thing didn't work out. And let's be honest, you could take the eye test or you can take the analytics. Either one tells you that Zach Metz is the better player. Either one, easily. So let's stop experimenting. He is their number 5 defenseman in my mind, and there's no question about it. He's earned this spot, and it looks like he's finally going to get it.
It is one of those instances, and I've heard this from Amherst fans. You have too, Timmy, over there, where, like, I cannot believe they're rating us when guys aren't playing up in Buffalo. Zach Metza, he is an important member of the Sabres. I was stunned that they sent him back down just to get a little work in. But the Amherst are shorthanded. There's no question about that. We talked to the coach on Tuesday, Riley Fiedler-Schultz. Not available for the rest of the regular season, as well as Ryan Johnson. Our number 585-866-4326. Corey from the city. Hey, Corey, welcome. How are you, buddy?
Hey, how are you guys today? I really want to talk about this Amerks team a little bit.
You got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really concerned with this Amerks team down the stretch. I know they play today. I know they play tomorrow, which I will be at the game tomorrow, and I don't know how this is going to affect them getting to the playoffs. I don't know if we will see them in the playoffs this year and how far they go, because I think this has been a really inconsistent year for the Amerks, especially with all the calls to Buffalo, like Ostlund, like Metz,
Dunn.
Some of those key guys. Dunn, yes. I'm not sure if we're going to see any more call-ups to Buffalo, because I know Sam Carrick was injured in that fight the other day in Buffalo, which I was there for that. And I really think this is not the Amerks team that we all thought would be this record at the start of the year, because I thought the expectations are going to raise the bar this year. And this has really been a tough year for the Amerks. And I really got to say some inconsistency, goaltending, the 9-3 loss to Laval. There's really a lot of things that are going on with the Amerks. I don't know if this is going to be a playoff team. A couple weeks ago when they're on that long losing streak, I said they're done. they're not going to make the playoffs. But I don't know if you think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Well, Corey, I think they do, just because of where they are in the standings. Now, check back with me this time tomorrow, and if Belleville hangs 9 on the Amherst tonight, or whatever, I don't see that happening, but I see them kind of hanging on to the 5 spot. And can they get by Cleveland or Toronto in the 4-5 matchup? I think the best case scenario for this team is they get waxed by Laval. Can you get to the actual, not the playing round, but to the actual, division semifinal? Corey, thank you for the call. That's a good kind of jumping off point. 585-866-4326, because I don't want to do like an obit on the Amherst. It's not fair, right? It's
yeah,
not
no,
fair.
they're not.
No, they're not.
They're still.
They're not
don't
dead.
bury them. They're not dead.
But Corey, as you mentioned, there's call-ups and there's injuries, and there's not much in the way of kind of help. This wasn't the team. And we're doing a comparison to Amherst teams of recent years, specifically under Seth Appert. This roster isn't as good. We can kind of, and maybe with Jarmo Kekalainen, you will have some fortification next year. I would hope that you'll spend top dollar when it comes into bringing veterans. And hey, good on them, good on Kevin Adams for finding a player like Zach Metza. And now he went up, and Dunn went up. And you mentioned Oslin. Oslin, hurt, should be coming back soon. He's an NHL player. So they're doing their job, I think. And this is one of those things when, okay, Kevin Adams gets blown out. The former GM of the Amherst, Carmanos, gets blown out. Like, okay, what does this mean for Mike Leone? I think the way the team is playing and continuing to fight, that Mike Leone should come back. But if things completely go off the rails, Corey, like if this team does not get the points necessary to get that 5 spot, and it's not a big ask. You have games in hand, and if you can put quite a distance between you and Belleville tonight. So tonight is obviously the bigger of the two. But that end of the schedule, that's brutal, 6 of the 7. I would say right now Mike Leone should be back based on everything that kind of happened, and we'll see how this roster. But again, it's a weird spot where we're talking about what hasn't happened, and our eyes are telling us this team is not destined for a long run. That's why I asked Don the question, like, could Devin Levi be that player that can carry you in a short 5-game series against Laval? And Don kind of correctly pointed out, yeah, maybe for a game and 2, but you can't ask for too much more than that. Corey, thanks for the call. Appreciate that. Again, our phone number, 585-866-4326. That is the number. Nighthawks, we should mention, they're in Halifax Saturday, talking about a team like where I think the Amherst are going to make the postseason. I don't know about the Nighthawks. Very strange season where they did fire their head coach. High expectations. Did bring in one of the top forwards in Zed Williams, and none of this is working. It just disjointed. And you could say that's a goalie suspension and sure, everything. The team right now is 6-8. They can't afford to drop another one. So that's I don't know for sure if the team is eliminated. If they lose, I think there is a scenario they could be if they fall to 6-9. We shall see on that. Couple other notes here. We'll talk some Bills here coming up with Elena Getzenberg from ESPN. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's a report from the Tampa Bay Times, and I had this prediction. One of the things in Sports Bar 1.0 we would do every year, and I'm going to continue this tradition. And Timmy, you know what we do here, where at the beginning of the NFL season, we will have our bold predictions. And we open it up. And one of my bold predictions was, hey, the Buccaneers are going to want a new stadium. And here we are. The Buccaneers, not a new stadium, but they want money. The Tampa Bay Times reporting that the team is meeting with people next week, whatever the stadium authority is in that region, to request $1 billion for a renovation of Raymond James Stadium. $1 billion. although they're not saying what $1 billion would cost, I am thinking, they're looking at Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, their renovation, roughly $1 billion. They're getting a roof. And part of this story includes that the Buccaneers, if they get this money, then would likely play a season in Orlando. So that's what Jacksonville, not this year, but 2027, where, hey, that's a Orlando trip for adults, right? Like like to me, there should be an NFL team that, like how their team in Vegas, there should be teams in every sport. When it comes to Orlando, you're going into town. But Camping World Stadium, it's nice, but it's not NFL quality, but it's good enough to be a temporary home. And it's going to be the temporary home for the Jaguars next year. And maybe in 28 or 29 or 30 or whatever we get to it, that'll be the temporary home if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get their wish. Some thoughts on this. One, and I've driven by it. I'm certainly familiar with that area. I've never been in that stadium. But from people that I have talked to, and there was a Bills game years ago that was in September, and the Bills lost that game, whatever. But I just heard, like, with the sun there, you just kind of melt. If it's going to be a Sunday 1 o'clock game in September, October, don't even bother. I would say, well, play games at 4:25. Well, you know what happens in Florida? Quite often the thunderstorms come rolling in later in the day. So it's a no-win situation. The fix is let's put a roof on this. That stadium opened in 1998, by the way, and by NFL standards, that's long overdue. So everybody's going to have like a dome stadium when we're all done with this. And Buffalo will be one of the few unique ones, right? In terms of new stadiums, you have Washington. You have now Chicago asking for this. Cleveland is getting a dome. And now this is, although they're not saying it directly, what do you need $1 billion for that stadium? There's nothing wrong with that stadium. Like maybe some upkeep, maybe some improvements, but my gosh, they're talking about more. And, of course, we can get a Super Bowl. We've had Super Bowls before down in that area.
The upkeep of a pirate ship is probably more expensive than we realize.
Do we really need the pirate ship at this day and age? Like if I'm the team, I would get rid of that and put in more seats for more fans. I mean, I'm being honest. Like, wow, yay. Like, what Pirates of the Caribbean? What are you doing? Luka Doncic. We don't talk a lot of NBA, but we will as we get to the postseason. This is not good if you're a Laker fan. The MRI is today, so I haven't heard or read anything on this hamstring last night. Lakers get blown out by OKC, and if Luka isn't good for the playoffs, it's not going to be a long ride. But look, Lakers aren't going to go anywhere. Even if they don't win any of the rest of their games, hard for me to imagine that they fall to the play-in round. And the play-in round, not only do you get the penalty of having to play those extra games, if you get out of that, you're either facing OKC or San Antonio. Like, whoever comes, this is what it feels like that should be the final this year, right? Wembanyama against OKC. It was Wembanyama going to be the MVP? Kind of the way San Antonio's playing, probably, I would guess that. This is all coming together quickly. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the NBA playoffs start. This is from the Masters. And I find sometimes you hear stats that are hard to believe. The Masters, according to a report by Front Office Sports, for their merchandise, the 1 week down there, they will generate $70 million. $70 million 1 week. Now, how many people go through the Masters? We don't have the exact numbers because it's Augusta National. But at any particular day, you'll get 40,000 people. A lot of people go more than once. So how do you say you're one and done? How many? Let's say it's between 90,000 and 100,000. But it's really kind of, how do you even do the math? And you say, well, people that buy online. Go to the Masters website right now. You can't buy a polo. You can't buy a hat. You can't buy hardly anything. There's artwork up there. And maybe that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. You can buy like a beautiful, of the azaleas on hole number 13. But like if you did the math, 70 million in merchandise sales, That would be somewhere around $7,000 a person. Now, I could see myself dropping $1,000. Like, we all know that person that goes down to Augusta National and you get the shopping list. I could imagine just like bags and bags of stuff there, like coming out of there. It was when we had the PGA Tour come in, I felt like, my goodness, I'm going to load up on stuff. And then you always have the kind of leftover sale in Pittsburgh Plaza, and I can never make it over there. We'll have to wait till 2035 there, but whenever you get a major tournament, you always want some of the merch. But the Masters coming up next week, and we're going to be joined Monday by Brian Colzio, who you hear on the Sabre Radio Network, certainly, but he's also the host of Tee to Green, and he is somebody that's been to Augusta National before. Brian, good friend of the show. We'll talk some golf here. And I feel like we haven't even grazed we haven't. The Final Four. We talked Wednesday with PJ Glasser. We've got that going on, too, this week. Some good games there. UConn taking on Illinois, and then you get the 2-1 seeds, Michigan, Arizona. And it's interesting that Arizona is actually a slight underdog. UConn a slight underdog, which that kind of leads me to think, if they're telling you go in that direction, then actually lay the points on the favorite. What do I know? PJ says, no, don't do that. He said he had Arizona going to the championship from the get-go, and he's not changing on that at all. Elena Getzenberg covers the Buffalo Bills for ESPN. She will join us next. On the other side of that, last call for the week at 866-4326, area code 585. Gene Battaglia with you on WGR Rochester.
An AM 950 WGR Rochester.
Hey, it's Gino here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived. Doesn't feel great driving around, and you're going to get home, and you're going to open up your windows, and, well, maybe not. Maybe your windows won't open easily. Maybe they leak when it rains. Maybe they have cracked glass. Maybe they need repainting. Again, getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation is easy and affordable. And right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, you could save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you get them down for 0 interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. In fact, experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and closed. They're made with top-quality seals so they won't leak when it's rainy or windy. And unlike other windows, they're maintenance-free. They're so good, Window Nation stands behind them with a lifetime warranty. And they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's The More You Buy, The More You Save sale. Going on now. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com for a consultation.
It's time for a fresh start.
update.
It's hockey night tonight in the Flower City. The Amerks hosting Belleville. Don Stevens will be by at 7 with the call. Mike Leone on tonight's opponents.
It's not a game 7. It's not a do or die situation. It's another game on the schedule. Like, you just got to play like it's the next game. It's not a do or die game. Yes, it's an important game, but if I go in the room and build it up like it's a Calder Cup final game, they're going to grip their sticks and they're going to be nervous. Like, with the group that we have, it's just the next game on the schedule. Like, that's the approach you got to take.
Sabres with another chance to make the postseason tomorrow night. Sabres hockey can be heard on WCMF as the Sabres are in Washington. Red Wings doubleheader. Game 1, Scranton is up 3-1. They head to the 5th. Aaron Judge with a first-inning homer in the Bronx. The Yankees up on the Marlins. They're now in the 2nd. Yankees up 4-1. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
I would say in terms of life-changing events, when you make that commitment and you are married, it's like that's a big life change. But I would contend there's no bigger life change when you become a parent. Certainly, and kind of to me, the top story for the Buffalo Bills, and we knew it was going to happen. It just out of the blue, though. It just we got the announcement that we don't know the name yet. I guess we're calling her Baby Girl Allen, as we're joined by Elena Getzenberg from ESPN.com. And Elena, like, I would have so many questions for Josh Allen, but I think going back to last year when he did get married, he really kind of drew a line with you and the other beat reporters, like, "Hey, I'm going to give you a little here, but let's talk football here," and I can certainly respect that. Elena, how are you this afternoon? Thanks for your time.
I'm good. Didn't think we started off with some baby talk, but always happy to chat about it. But thanks for having me on. It's a delight. It's a slow time of year, but it's good to have those every now and then. But the NFL certainly keeps us busy enough.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, a little bit. Good time to kind of check in because it's going to be crazy 3 weeks from now. And to me, Josh Allen is always the story. And sometimes we get caught up in, all right, the 53rd guy on the team. But your thoughts on Allen, because where we saw him at the end of last season, turning the ball 4 times over, now he's got a new head coach, certainly one he's familiar with, and then the offseason surgery. So, Josh Allen, I'm just curious to get your thoughts here on somebody that we're all going to have eyes on when we get to OTAs here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really interesting time in Josh Allen's career and meshing with the Bills timeline and all of that kind of thing. It's, age is just a number, but he does turn 30 in May. So you're entering kind of, this next maybe trajectory of we're seeing quarterbacks play later and later, but 30 is 30. He's certainly older and entering a later stage in his career. And as you said, coming off surgery in the offseason, but one that very minor and expected not to have, any long-term impacts or anything like that. But it's definitely like a different Josh Allen. And, we saw some of that with his personal life impacting him. I've talked to him about it. He's talked about it a lot, how it's given him new perspective and that kind of thing. So he's got all that and a brand new head coach who he's been working incredibly close to the last few years. And I think really this year going into it, Josh Allen only has more pressure on his shoulders from my perspective because the head coach is gone. They've got a new head coach that you're very close to and has a good relationship with you. And that certainly is an element to Joe Brady having the job he does now. So there's a lot going on for Josh Allen. And to me, however you look into this season, having the head coach he's worked with not in the building anymore and having someone he's incredibly close to take over that role, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And Josh Allen certainly already has had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Elaine, I'm curious to get your thoughts here, and it's going to be one of these storylines because with the change at head coach, there's always been this thought to use a NASCAR phrase, was there a restrictor plate on this offense, with the talk of complementary football? And granted, the Bills ran the ball as good as any team in the NFL with James Cook, and Josh Allen is certainly in the backfield. But the idea that this offense, you could kind of open it up here, or should we expect more? How do you see this Bills offense evolving next year with now Joe Brady as the head coach?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one because we're going to find out a little bit more still about how much of an influence Sean McDermott did have on this offense, but it's only going to look so different. This is still, it has been Joe Brady's offense. Like, that's Joe Brady and, to be clear, Josh Allen's offense. So there's only going to be so much change because those two guys are still in the building and still running the offense. But I think it'll look different to an extent. Aaron Cromer, the offensive line coach, played a huge role in the run game. He's no longer in the building, so that'll look a little different. But I think it's like a little overdone to be like, oh, this offense is going to look so different, like Joe Brady was restrained or anything like that. To me, it was Joe Brady's offense and Josh Allen's offense, and it's still going to be. Yes, it's going to look different, but like dramatic changes, I don't necessarily expect that because it was very much Joe Brady's offense. But yeah, I think there will be certainly tweaks, certainly changes, and maybe some things Joe Brady does a bit differently being the head coach as well.
So the Bills' offensive line, they lose Edwards, but you have Anderson. Look, I thought it was a pleasant surprise that they figured something out with Connor McGovern. Offensive line, in my opinion, Elena, not a concern. Tight ends, okay, you pick up the fifth-year in Dalton Kincaid. That was a no-brainer. The question, what about the wide receivers here? Should we have an expectation that the Bills will try to do something here in the second wave of free agency, or might be this actually the year where they, in the first round, whether it's at 26 or moving up slightly here, draft a wide receiver?
It's certainly in the realm of possibility. I don't think they're done at wide receiver. That's not the sense I get. But that doesn't mean it has to be addressed in the first round to be addressed. I think that's important. This is a team that really still sitting here, like after that wave of free agency already into April. I think they still have a lot of needs and stuff they've got to address. They did add a couple interior offensive line free agents recently, and I wouldn't be surprised Brandon Beane loves to sign some free agents after the draft because it helps with the comp pick formula for next year. So like adding free agents post-draft is something I would expect to see too. But absolutely, wide receivers, like, I think if the right guy is there at 26, like, that wouldn't surprise me. I think they're in a tricky spot with not having that second-round pick they gave up for DJ Moore, where if, like, there is someone they want to try and get, move up for, you're dipping into next year's picks potentially, and next year's supposed to be a really strong draft overall. So I think that's a little tricky territory. But I think they address from my personal opinion, they should address wide receiver in the draft. I think they need someone young. I think they need to continue to try to build good guys for the long term at that position, not like these 1-year rentals. We've seen them doing a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised, but they're kind of in a tricky spot at 26 where, like, will the right guy that's worth a first-round pick be there? I don't think they'll take one just to take one because of the DJ Moore trade. Like, they already made a huge investment in that position where if the right guy's not there, they've got other needs they need to address in that first round too.
Oh, no, Elena, I planted my flag. It is like I have my draft crush. My draft crush is Rochester proud, Casey Concepcion. Yes, bring him back home to Western New York, Elena. Like when
I think that's a popular selection. I think a lot of people like that. I don't think you're alone.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine his dad from Rochester next summer at Fisher? We'll all be having a plate together there. Elena Getzenberg from ESPN joining us here in the sports bar. Probably, I should kind of say, like, what side of the ball needs more work? And you kind of refer to this like it's the defense here at every level here. Where would you even begin here? Because I see a lot of guys that just aren't re-signed, like Shaq Thompson, say, for instance. Or do you need more here on the defensive line? Lena, go over like the checklist here. Pretty much you need a little bit of everything, correct, when it comes to the defense?
Yeah, it is. Like, they did add a lot, but there's still so much more to do because we're looking at such a different, I mean, even not looking at the scheme, like personnel-wise, it's going to be such a different-looking defense next year. I think right now my primary concern with the defense is definitely, like, it's close to either, like, a really big run-stuffing defensive tackle up front, or they still need to address that pass rush and outside linebacker position is what it's going to be now. And I think it's interesting because they've got guys there, right? We saw them go out and get Bradley Chubb, and they've got Michael Hoyt coming back that they're so excited about, and of course Greg Rousseau. But they need like a younger guy there, and that's why that's like an interesting position for me in the first round, because I think there could be guys around where they're picking that make sense. And to me, it's like they haven't really invested in that spot early in the first round for a long time at this point. So that to me stands out. But then you get to the linebacker position, and like there's some real question marks with that group at this point. That inside linebacker spot where like Terrell Bernard had a lot of injuries last year, and then it's Dorian Williams, Joe Andreessen, and then that's like it. So that to me is a position Brandon Beane has said that it's a really strong linebacker class. So I expect them to address linebacker absolutely in this draft. So I think that's one to watch. And then the last position to me, like I think safety is in a relatively good spot at this point. They've brought back a bunch of guys, signed a couple veterans, but cornerback, like they need a veteran outside cornerback because they're putting a lot of faith right now in Maxwell Harrison. And he had 2 injuries last year and had a good season, had some issues like we expect from a rookie. But to me, adding a veteran corner is still an important thing for this defense.
Yeah, Christian Benford, certainly one of the top in the game, and Harrison, okay, for a full camp. What about a player that this time last year, okay, they're bringing back Tre'Davious White, and then, wow, Tre'Davious White, to me, like he really showed up down the stretch there. Is he a fit in this new scheme, Elena? Like he's still sitting out there.
I think he could be. It's interesting where some of these former Bills, it's like, okay, like in years past, we are very, as some people do not enjoy, I think we've talked about this before, going back to the well of guys the Bills are familiar with and know very well and not kind of reaching outside the box. It wouldn't shock me, if they continue to open those doors. But I think we're in kind of that weird zone too, where like some of these free agents want to see what's happening in the draft and that kind of thing and see where's a fit. But to me, like Tre'Davious White coming back is less maybe scheme specific and more like where is he at in his career and does it make sense on both sides? Because I think the Bills would like, their starting quarterbacks to be Christian Benford and Maxwell Harrison. And if you've got Tre'Davious White, who played well last year, I thought, like back there, is that a good, is he going to be on the field or is that going to be Maxwell Harrison's job to lose? Like that's kind of an interesting dynamic too, where you're going to have to get someone who's going to want to come in and be okay competing and potentially not playing. So that's a dynamic too. So what do you think about all this?
Is there, the Brandon Beane wearing the sunglasses and going out and signing Von Miller and making big moves? Is there anything the Bills could possibly do? That's something that, hey, we can kind of daydream about here on a Good Friday. Like, could Max Crosby be available? Is there a wide receiver? Or are the Bills right now, Elena, just so restricted for the salary cap that, boy, a lot of things would have to happen in order for us to make a big move like that?
You never say never, right? But it seems like we're kind of at a point where, like, things have settled a bit where, like, the DJ Moore trade was a really big trade. Like, giving up that second-round pick was not a casual thing. So, for me, like, I don't see that with a wide receiver because I think they already did that. And also, like, cap-wise, that wouldn't really make a whole other sense to trade for a wide receiver. The Bills were clearly interested in Max Crosby and all of that going down. I don't know what the Raiders at this point are willing to give up for him because it's such a weird dynamic. So I don't see a big move right now like that. Of course, it can change. But I think right now we've seen Brandon Beane really likes to build through the draft with a lot of these guys. And I don't think he's going to want to lose a lot more picks. So I think giving that DJ Moore trade, that was a big trade. And, like, I think to give up more, there has to be some unique situation. And I don't know. The Max Crosby one is the only one. But, like, I don't know. The Raiders seem pretty happy to keep him at this point. It just seems like a weird dynamic over there. It'll be interesting to see if he plays for them this year. Who knows? But I do think, like, the Bills, they like to use their draft picks and have draft picks. So I think it'd have to be a pretty specific situation.
Elena, I was kind of jealous seeing some of the video that you and others were putting out last week. Tell us, what was it like getting kind of a sneak peek walking through the stadium, your first impressions of the new Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, it was my first time going there, so I was very excited. It's really cool. It's so different than the old stadium. Like, it almost doesn't feel anything like it at all. What I kind of got the feel was like a soccer stadium, because the seats do feel like, that's one thing to me that always stood out about the old Highmark, was how close the fans could be and felt like they were. And like, this felt like the stands and the seats were close to the field, which I thought was cool and an important kind of feeling to have, to be close to the field as possible. But it's got some like fun Western New York touches that I think people will enjoy. It's certainly got some like nice technology, and it looks very modern and up to date. But I think it's going to be cool once everyone gets in, and it's going to be loud. Like, it's going to really, they do not know how loud it's going to be. So I think it'll be really interesting to find out how loud it gets in there. One thing I will say that really stood out to me was they had said, like, oh yeah, the winds, like, it's going to be reduced in there. They like have built it away so there's less wind. And I was like, yeah, okay. If anyone's been to Orchard Park, it gets very windy there for games, especially in the wintertime. It's brutal. The wind actually was much less in the stadium, so I will give them that. Like, it will help with feeling cold. It is not as windy in there. So that was one seal of approval. But it definitely, it doesn't have that touch that the old one brought, that it felt like so historic and nostalgic and that kind of thing. But I think it has some cool things that people should be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, fans are going to be excited, and I would assume, are they saying what the first, is it going to be that August Friday night scrimmage? Is that going to be our first event there, Elena? Is it going to be a concert? Do we know anything about when we'll be able to actually go in there as the public into that stadium?
Yeah, that practice is going to be one of the first things. They were still talking about if they were going to do like some test events a little earlier, but that practice will be the first like big nighttime event that people should circle to check out the stadium for sure.
So is there an ESPN sort of event where you got to do a mock draft? And if so, if you were on the podium and all things were equal, what do you think the Buffalo Bills should do when they're on the clock 20 days from today, Elena?
Ooh, yes, I do. I'm not going to reveal my pick yet because I'm going to keep it for now. But yes, there will be. And because I haven't decided yet, I'll be honest. I'm still between. I think right now I will say that for that kind of mock draft, I am leaning defense and I'm leaning up front. I'm kind of deciphering down who my pick would be amongst those. But I do think for me right now, it would be defense unless I can figure out a wide receiver that works there, but that's not my vibe at the moment. But I'm open to suggestions if everyone loves to do their mock draft. So we're still open for any suggestions and thoughts for making that pick.
Elena, you know where I'm at. Like, you're going to be in the back of your mind, you're going to be doing this show on ESPN. You're going to think, oh, for my friends in Rochester. My goodness, I know this pick, this linebacker, C.J. Ellen, would make more sense. But you know what? Oh, for my friends in Rochester, I might do that. Elena, tell our audience what
I could still make that change. I'll keep that in consideration.
All right. Well, you know what? Now we're going to be paying attention. Elena, what we got coming up on ESPN.com we can go check out here on a holiday weekend or into next week? What are you working on?
Yeah, we've got we have upcoming stuff leading up to the draft, so we'll have lots of look at all these different positions and who they should be picking. And then once we get some OTAs access, that'll all be there as well. Have some stuff up from the stadium from last week that I recommend people checking out about the bison statues specifically as well. So more to come there as we get, the draft is so soon. It's crazy. So we'll have coverage all the way leading up to that.
Yeah, and we don't want to wish time away. We enjoy spring, we enjoy summer, but Elena, when you and everybody else comes back into town, that's going to be great. Thanks, Elena, for your time today. Really
looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll talk to you.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Elena Getzenberg from ESPN joining us here. Last call. Yeah, and look, I do think it's kind of a bit there. Tim is like, why you keep hitting?
No, what you're doing here, you've got Don trying to buy secrets off of you, and now you're trying to buy Elena's draft pick. This is great.
Yeah. Can you imagine if she actually gets up there? And good on her Right, she can't really tell you. You know, like they always do this, NFL Nation show where they have everybody coming in with their draft picks, and she can't say because who's going to be on the clock. But Concepcion is on the clock, maybe, or yeah, absolutely. Hey, if you've got a draft crush, 866-4326 is our number. Last call as we head to the holiday weekend. G. Battaglia with you here, along with Tim Schneider and Dan DeLorean on WGR Rochester.
95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
Yeah, if you're listening from home, and gosh, it is a good day, right? To go out, do some yard work, or maybe you're just enjoying a day where you can watch a little baseball on the TV. Yankees have only 2 hits so far, but they've got 4 runs. Marlins with 1 hit as Will Warren 1 run through 4 innings. Aaron Judge, 3 runs batted in. He had a 2-run homer, and the Yankees are up 4-1 on the Marlins. The Red Wings, they go to the 6. Scranton is up 4-2. Wings are off to a 4-1 start, so the doubleheader today going to get Scranton. And good that they have a nice afternoon, and hopefully people can kind of mosey over there to see the Red Wings today. To me, it's the Amerks this weekend because tonight you will have Belleville, and then tomorrow Don Stevens. On Don Stevens Day, we were joined in studio by Don, and look, I could listen to stories from Don as you could, Tim, all day. He will be honored tomorrow. It's my understanding he's actually not calling the game on Saturday. It's going to be but his family's going to be in town. So if you wanted to meet Don on Saturday, he's certainly accessible. Don Stevens Day coming up Saturday is Providence. And then you got to go to Cleveland on Monday. So think about what's going on Monday. National championship game, college basketball, which when we get to Monday, we'll all bitch about the tip-off time, 9:15 or 9:20 or whatever it is, right? Thank you for everybody on the East Coast. But you've got Sabres, Tampa.
And Amerks.
And Amerks, right. So how, Sabres at 7 o'clock? Yeah, that's fantastic. And I might be getting over to the basketball game a little late, Timmy. Yep, I might be.
Got a playoff berth to clinch.
The Sabres could sweep Tampa. I remember hearing Paul Hamilton during a postgame saying, this is real fun. Big test coming up, though. 4 games against Tampa. And it's kind of weird how they angled them all, in the second half of the season. And here they are. And then, you remember the last game was 8-7. Buffalo, in one of the nuttiest games in Sabre history. And I'm not exaggerating that. Missed any of today's show? Download the Odyssey app. It's free. Go back and listen in any time. And I would also suggest that, too. Like, you hit the Odyssey app and you put it through your Bluetooth technology, Dr. Rick, whatever. You can listen on your way home, at your leisure, on the weekend. The Sports Bar is for you. If you love sports podcasts, well, then we're Rochester Sports Podcast. 10 hours a week we're cranking out for you. Thanks to Dan DeLorean behind the scenes doing all his fine work. Thanks to Tim Schneider for all his insight and keep me on the straight and narrow, even your bad takes. We will Monday be joined by Brian Koziol. It'll be Masters Week coming up. Again, Amerks hockey tonight, taking on Belleville. Don Stevens with the call beginning at 7 o'clock. For Tim Schneider, my name is Gene Battaglia. Shope and the Bulldog coming up next here on WGR Rochester.